So welcome back to DecoyNoise, where today we're doing 3 more stories from r/Am I the A-hole and taking them to Decoy Court. But first, we gotta give out today's ever-coveted Decoy coin to a very special member, ComaLies225. ComaLies225 has been here with the Decoy Koi Pond since the original sub 1,000 subscriber mark and has been a very loyal contributing member to the Decoy Koi Pond, so I wanted to make sure they got their Decoy Koi coin with DecoyNoise.com, which is going to be valuable sometime in the near future. So if you want to be like ComaLies225, make sure you subscribe down below, make sure you turn on those notifications, and make sure you let me know in the comment section that you are joining that hashtag Decoy Koi. So we're going to the first post of the day is, am I the antagonist for telling my friend the truth about an influencer? OP writes, I cannot believe I'm posting this, but I was asked to, so here I go. I'm 21, she's 22, both female and Balkan, and we went to high school together. In high school, I had more free time, so I followed some influencers on Instagram. Thankfully, I grew out of that. Friend in question was, and still is, living in her dream world, trying so hard to emulate some Instagram influencers, mainly fitness and booty building ones, into this influencer. I don't know if I can name her. I followed her at first because I liked her MU style. She had the perfect life, a long-term solid marriage, their own business and fitness, a house, 2 dogs, and then a baby. My friend caught on to me looking at her and followed her as well. 2 years went on, we finished high school and grew apart. One day, I scrolled through some stories with the influencer posting a clickbait YouTube vlog. She made some money off of YouTube. It's got her crying in the thumbnail, so I opened, watched, and closed the video appalled. Basically, their child was around 1. They continuously let her taunt the older dog, an 8-year-old male, lab mix, and they filmed her for stories and blogs on how she's doing some things to him. One day, the dog had enough and growled a little, so they took it upon themselves to euthanize him without trying to rehabilitate him or try to adopt him out. That's their words. It wasn't the first time they refused to discipline their child by instilling boundaries, and it wasn't the last time they filmed the kid taunting animals. I was furious. I went to her Instagram and there was a crap storm. She blocked everyone who said something unrelated to complimenting her butt, deleted comments inquiring about the dog, and ended up twisting a story fully from the video. Apparently the dog was so aggressive for 24/7 and for months it had to be done. Normally people would remove the dog from such a situation as soon as it happens, right? When she got tired of people calling her out, she deleted the video 4 to 5 hours after posting and comments, and I unfollowed them then and there. Fast forward to pre-lockdown. I stumbled upon a friend and she wanted to grab coffee. I was looking forward to catching up, but she seriously got disappointed fast. She was still stuck in her bubble, still obsessing over Instagram models' bodies, ignoring the obvious surgeries, Facetune, thinking it's all natural. Then mentioned the influencer was still on her follow list and she started showing me her photos. I told her I'm not following the influencer anymore, and after being asked, I explained why. The look in her eyes has changed and her mood went downhill. She was pretty mad at me for destroying her view and image of that influencer and how I'm lying. Some pages covered it, so I'm fairly sure I'm not lying. She paid her coffee and left. Refused to talk to me since. Another high school friend wants us all to catch up soon, and I don't know if I want to reconnect with that friend in question. Am I the antagonist for telling her the truth about an influencer? We'll add more info in the comments for clarity if necessary. And at number 1, thanks for the comments and all the judgments, everyone. I appreciate it. Heart, I'm really not considering her a friend for the plethora of reasons besides just this. We have no communication, so I suppose that's how it's gonna continue being. The virtual reunion, I'm not sure how we'll do it with her, but there's a chance she might not show up given that she only likes a friend that proposed the idea of it. Anyways, it's less of a headache in an already difficult time. So, whatever taking the case over to Decoy Court is that's a problem. Is when we idolize people, they oftentimes fall short. And that's the thing is, as you guys know, I was a huge Boston Celtics fan, and when I saw Paul Pierce walking around the mall one time in person, I just knew if I walk up to him and I meet him, and after watching him on television all this time doing these amazing things in the NBA, I knew if I walked up to him, I was like, "Hey, Paul Pierce, I'm a huge fan." What response was I going to get from him? "Oh my God, Decoy, me too," and shake my hand and we're gonna parade and drive off into the sunset together? No, that's not gonna happen. He's just gonna be like, "All right, man, cool, thanks," and walk away, or be a jerk to me, like, "All right, get out of my way, I'm trying to shop here," something like that. It was only going to be disappointment from there. There's no way that you can hold them in they can live up to the high regard you've built up in your head, and that's a situation here. Is this person is very flawed, the Instagram influencer. Like, most of them are just not going to be how they are portrayed on social media, but the whole thing with the dog is atrocious, and the idea is they tried to flip it around thinking, oh my God, people don't like the fact that I put a dog to sleep that didn't need to be put to sleep because I'm being a crappy parent with my kid, giving them boundaries. Oh my God, I can't believe it. You guys are wrong, delete everybody. And the thing is, though, is maybe that The OP's friend was just sleeping that day when all that unfolded, so it's a situation where it's just, how dare you point out the thing that I just didn't seem to notice? It's not a thing, so I mean, in Decoy court, I'm just gonna go ahead and say that OP's not the antagonist. This is just messy drama. They're both they're young. What are they? 21 and 20. Like they're 21 and 22. They're both young. They don't really know that this is what's going to happen. Everybody's going to let them down. I sound like a really old man right now, but idols, like actors, singers, models, everything, Instagram influencers, they're going to let you down at some point in time because it's impossible for them to live these perfect lives that they portray on the internet. But I guess the whole Decoy defense is OP. Like, I know a lot of the Instagram influencers, they look very similar. They have very similar lives, and they oftentimes will even live in like houses together, post those images to try to get a like that ideal lifestyle and stuff. So OP just thought, oh my god, that one with black hair who's Asian, who has that lives in a house in Beverly Hills, that's the influencer with the dog drama. And then they said, oh wait, no, there's another Asian influencer with black hair that lives in Beverly Hills. Oh, that's the Instagram influencer with the dog drama. And they like misattributed that whole spectacle to the wrong person. That's why OP's friend was so angry. I mean, I guess that could be a Decoy defense. It doesn't have to be correct. It just has to be a defense case. So let me know in the Decoy recess we'll take right now. Let me know your thoughts on story number 1. Should you be shattering your friend's Disney Channel view on the world and influencers? Let me know in the comment section down below, but let's go ahead and shoot over to that top comment, which is not the antagonist. Imagine tossing away a friendship over an Instagram influencer. That's just, wow. Very true. And the next reply from OP says, she cut us out trying to help her in relation to physical and mental health. She's super dramatic in real life for other things and budges when we tell her most influencers Photoshop is something or had something done. She believes they're all very real and raw and would never alter their appearance that's image. So this is like one of those situations where you have a person really, 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 really into professional wrestling, and when you try to tell them, no, The Undertaker didn't die, come back to life to beat Stone Cold Steve Austin and super slam The Rock through a exploding limousine. Like, that didn't happen. But if you were the person telling them that Santa Claus isn't real, you were always going to be the bad guy. So the next top comment is not the antagonist. She asked why. You told her. People get too wrapped up in these type of people that profit off their followers' insecurities. And that's the thing, is you like to say, oh my god, social media, it's so bad. You have these Instagram models that get surgery, but then they misattribute it to like their fit tea or something, and they're profiting off insecurities. I'm sorry. Every beauty magazine ever has been doing it before social media, and every beer commercial, car commercial, sports commercial, Nike commercial, they're kind of profiting off your insecurity in some level of just dangling this thing that you can get if you just give us some money. So I mean, yes, the Instagram influencer thing is kind of a crappy world to be in, but I mean, all advertisement ever since the beginning of time is kind of like that too, in some sad kind of way. But going over to the controversial comments, there is no antagonist here. Your friend asked you why you didn't like the influencer, and you told. She seems a bit foolish for still being in this bubble and refusing to listen to external comments telling her the majority of these things are faked. But I can understand why she's angry. I can understand why you did it, but it shouldn't be aimed at you. It should be aimed at the influencer who lied to her followers and is enforcing a story into a style because it makes her look better. Very true, very, very valid things in this controversial comment. But the one thing I would say is, like, she seems a bit foolish for still being in this bubble. I mean, that's kind of the situation where I had the Santa analogy, where like, yeah, by the time you make it to like, I guess like 5th grade, you should probably know that, oh my gosh, maybe people are, no one's watching my channel that they think Santa's real. So I'm saying, if you're in 5th grade and don't realize that Santa's real, I mean, everybody's going to kind of laugh at you, but it's something that does happen. So the next top controversial comment is, you're the antagonist for caring this much about some random influencer's life. Please stop so these people will go away. Live your lives, people. So I get it, and they got negative points. OP came back to say, LOL, I'm taking this L because I was 17-ish with no life of my own, and I thought Instagram was the crap. Even people on it. I've changed since. And that's just how the world is. People like to have... They love boy bands, or they love sports stars or something like that. Like, this isn't an immature thing. This is just something that, like, you get into stuff. Like, I get really into the Funko Pops, or I don't even know what else, like sports and stuff. So yes, someone that has grown out of watching the NBA or something, or thinks it's foolish, it's, oh, just some bunch of people dribbling a basketball and throwing it through a hoop. Why are you wasting all your time buying merchandise and watching it on television? I could see why someone would look down on me the same reason OP looks down on their friends still looking at Instagram stuff. So that's my thoughts on story number 1. Let's go ahead and go over to story number 2, which is more serious. And they write, Am I the antagonist for circulating a petition to have a child removed from my kid's class? So Reddit has already judged everyone sucks, but Decoy Court definitely has a say. OP writes, my daughter's 3rd grade class has a kid in it who has something gravely wrong with her. I don't know if she's chemically imbalanced or what the deal is. That part, it really isn't my business. I just know that how it manifests is the child is highly disruptive to the learning environment. This girl will throw fits in the middle of class, total meltdowns with cursing and shouting. That grinds instruction to a halt. And worse, she'll be very mean, beyond cliquey, like needling into kids' deepest insecurities and making them not want to go to school. I brought my concerns to the teacher after my daughter outlined her first initial encounters with her, and the teacher suggested some conflict management strategies for my daughter to try, which led me to believe that it was an issue between the two of them. Personally, my child is and this other one. But then I found out from the other parents that their kids reported identical issues with the girl. We all got together and spoke to the teacher, and she said that while she really wanted to help us, that she was bound by certain privacy laws about what exactly she could do and what she could not say. So we went to the mother of the girl, specifically I and one of the dads did. She wouldn't feel bombarded but wouldn't be able to brush it off as one rude parent's misplaced blame. She vaguely said that yes, her daughter is dealing with some things, but the experts have recommended it would be best for her to work through them in a regular classroom environment and to learn the norms being surrounded by her same-aged peers. We tried to delicately communicate that her learning whatever she is coming at the expense of all the other kids learning and their academics and feeling socially safe, but she more or less said in a kind of a firm way, welcome to public school. Your kids are going to have to get along with all kinds of people. We first approached the higher-ups trying to instigate them to offer them an IEP. We were eventually able to find out that they had been extended services and turned them down. I don't know why we were even supposed to know that much. We are now petitioning for the child to be removed from the classroom. There is a camp that feels though this is against the foundational principles of their education system, that everyone should be able to partake with who wants to, and if we don't like it, we should take our kids out instead of forcing them somewhere they don't want to be or don't feel it's the best for their child. Before this instance, I would have completely agreed, so now I'm wondering, am I the antagonist for doing this? And then type of clarity. So taking the case over to Decoy Court and something that I probably shouldn't touch, so we're not. No, I'm kidding. Okay, so with this story right here, I'm obviously not an expert, but it is a common thing for people to say, like, yes, they said before this instance, they would have completely agreed, but now they're wondering, because it's always easier to volunteer your neighbor's lunch, saying like, oh yes, your kids can have a stifled learning environment because you just need to do this for the greater good. But when it's your kid and it's their future and it's like your life that's affecting, it's always very different. So yes, you want that kid to have the best opportunity to learn the person in class, but to the point where I would just highlight the idea where she's bullying the other kids. She's trying to make them so they don't feel comfortable going to school. It's not just cliquey. It's just like needling to their deepest insecurities. This is kind of a situation where it's like, okay, now you have a hostile environment for the other students or whatever. Like, if they need to work through something, they need to work through something, give them all the resources available to help them get there, but not at the expense of making some kids just get bullied out of class where they just stop showing up or they go up there and they're emotionally distant. So I'm obviously not a person to say like I have any expertise on this, but in my knee-jerk reaction for Decoy Court, I'm going to go ahead and say that, you know, not the antagonist, especially with the idea that the mother of the troublemaker kid is a little bit just dismissive, like, well, they're going to have to learn how to deal with people like that. Well, it's like, in the real world, everybody should learn how to cope, so there should be some sort of compromise, not only through OP's kids and the other students' kids, but not OP's kid, but the other students, but also the troublemaker themselves. They should also learn how to kind of assimilate to a productive classroom, not just stopping whenever they have an outburst. So those are my thoughts. Maybe we have someone with some better expertise can give us some information in the Decoy Court pond down below. So take that brief recess in Decoy Court. Let me know your thoughts on story number 2, petitioning to get a kid taken out of school. So the next top comment is, you would not be the antagonist if you went to the board and asked them to come up with a solution. They might decide to offer extra support to the classroom. You can always ask to have your child move to another classroom. So there's some good compromises in there. Somebody that got gold said, everyone sucks here except the kids. It's fair to ask your child to be moved to a different classroom, but circulating a petition to single out a child is awful. It sounds like this child needs extra support that she isn't receiving and that her parents have declined it. A child who has regular meltdowns like that needs extra support. Her parents are the antagonists for not giving it to her. The school administration are the antagonists for violating a FERPA and sharing information they shouldn't have. So somebody with some better insight as to what should be happening, and I believe that this person knows what's going on with the whole knowing the acronyms, or maybe I should start doing that in my new videos where if I'm not the expert, I'll just drop in things like, well, over here in AITA, and then looking at Suggesto, and then also VGH, like that would be violations of all those rules. And if I say those stuff with enough confidence and quick enough, you're going to say, whoa, Decoy really knows his crap. Let's just go ahead and give him wide berth and just trust everything he says. And I'm like, you know what? 90% of people that don't subscribe to DecoyNoise get DDA. So, I mean, you guys get better off do it. Maybe that should boost things. But I mean, let's go ahead and go over those top controversial comments, which is, you're the antagonist. I'm speechless. I'm a teacher. It's the middle of a lockdown. You have no idea what's happening in that kid's life. Everyone's being pushed and stressed. Students, teachers, parents, administration. How would you feel if it was your child getting a petition circulated around them? I know, you're going to say, but my child would never act like that. Well, shut the F up. Every kid deserves an opportunity at education, and hands are, I don't even want to say, because even though it's a true you're the antagonist, but hands are tied in situations like this. It's a public school. Teachers and administrators don't get to pick and choose students in their class. If they could, I feel like you might have a parent that would cause teachers to say anyone but OP's kid in my class. If you and these other parents are going to be such a stuck-up snotty butts, pull your own kids out and send them to private school. Shut down the petition before you and those other parents get horrible reputations with a staff for being uncaring, ableist, judgmental, horrible bullies the next 2 years while your children are still at this school. So this is a very angry person, and I kind of feel like I have some disagreements with the way they're putting this apart, saying they're a teacher, there's a lockdown, there's a whole bunch of reasons, but I mean, there are reasons as to, hey, if the kid is stopping class where they're getting multiple chapters or segments behind because of the one troublemaker, there should be a situation. If the parents are declining the help that the school is trying to offer them and the school can't force them to take the assistance, well, who does that really fall on to? Now just like the school is like, oh, our hands are tied, we can't help anybody, so I guess this entire class is going to get held back. Likely. Maybe this person has more experience with it because they say they're a teacher, but they're just trying to say like, oh yeah, we're going to label you as uncaring, judgmental, and horrible bullies for the next 2 years while your kids are at this school. This seems like this weird kind of, I don't want to say overreaction, but it's a situation where, hey, how come we can't find a compromise? Instead of a compromise, you're just going to shout them down and say, no, nothing changes. No one gets to get anything better. Just accept it. I don't know if that's the best response, but okay, so the next top controversial comment is a response from another teacher, and I'm glad that I went down to this, where it says, I'm also a teacher, and I couldn't disagree more. Just because we can't choose which children are in our class doesn't mean we wouldn't like to be able to sometimes. Saying everyone deserves an education is like creating a false dichotomy. OP isn't petitioning to remove the child from school, just from this classroom in which the child's presence prevents all the children from progressing their education. If the teacher has to routinely stop the lesson to deal with one specific child, the other children are falling victim to this mother's refusal to utilize the services offered to her. If her child needs to learn from the same age peers, she can enroll her in a soccer team or some other low-stakes activity. If the kid's hysterically melting down periodically throughout the day and going through some things, the classroom teacher likely isn't the professional she needs, hence why the school offered them services. Mom probably just doesn't want to embrace that her child isn't perfectly normal. OP's kid and all the others in the class shouldn't sacrifice a year or more this child could land in her class again of their education due to that. She may not have the means to simply pick a new school. And I like that we have two different people from teaching backgrounds giving their input on it. And I think it's kind of true. I agree with this teacher a little more, saying, hey, let's fix the problem. Just because the mom doesn't want to provide those services to the kid doesn't mean that everybody should suffer because of it. And also the idea of, hey, if they need to be around kids their age, put him in soccer team or something. And honestly, I didn't realize that until this comment right now. I'm a bit older, so I feel like autism wasn't diagnosed as much as it is right now. And I remember being on a hockey team, and there was a kid that very obviously had autism, wasn't in school because he was local. Everybody kind of knew him, but he didn't ever show up to like local school. We just didn't know about him except for the hockey team. And it's a situation where it's like, oh yeah, that was probably right. Probably was in some sort of special education group, but then being amongst the other kids that are in like, public school, regular classes, being around us was helpful because he was very, just very non-communicative, had issues with like frustration and would get in kind of fights a lot. But I mean, it was hockey, so it was kind of accepted. So wow, this is a big aha moment for me now. So beyond that, let's go ahead and go to that third and final story today, which is, am I the antagonist for refusing to sign a document my late dad's wife is pressuring me to? So OP writes, my father passed away 3 years ago from lung cancer, which spread to his brain towards the end. It was an awful time for us, and I miss him terribly. My mom died when I was 15, and when she died, her life insurance/death in service benefit paid out, and it paid off the rest of his mortgage on the house. Due to my dad being, at the time, an aggressive alcoholic, I moved out when I was 16. We still maintained a rocky relationship in the later years, were much better, and we were very close. I loved him so much despite the bad stuff. A couple of years later, I met his girlfriend. Eventually, they got married around 2015. I never totally got on with her, nothing in common and hard to relate with, but my dad was happy and we had a polite relationship as I wanted my dad to have a companion. I've never considered her a stepmom. Anyways, after he died, I found out that his will had been changed 2 weeks after he passed. Wiltsey had a large brain tumor without my knowledge. I am one of the executors, so I was quite surprised I wasn't told, which meant the sale of my parents' home would go from being split 3 ways to her getting half and my brother and I the other half to split. We were not happy with how this went down, but we accepted the change to the will and moved on. She has now decided she wants to sell because she wants to move. She mentioned she wanted to get some work done on the house and increase the sale price, and I emailed her saying not to spend as much as it wasn't worth it, it wasn't necessary. She invited me over a few weeks ago to see the work to give me some documents. When I got home, I looked at the document she wanted me to sign and agreeing to deduct nearly £16,000 from the sale of the house to pay herself back for the work. Some of it was done ages ago and clearly for her living comfort, and other paperwork only gave quotes for the work, not actual receipts or invoices. The terms of the will is that she could live there until her death, but she was responsible for the upkeep and maintenance as well as the bills. She had lived there for 14 years rent-free with my dad and 3 years without him. My friend's family and I think it's an absolute piss take to ask us for this money considering it is our family home, which we not only did both of our parents have to die for her to get it, but it is only inheritance from our parents. She is not pressuring me to agree to this, and I'm not happy I'm being bullied by her to sign. She wrote the document, not a solicitor, and no solicitor has been involved from her and about this. I'm guessing since it was in pounds, solicitor means lawyer. She has now told me she will withdraw the property from the market if I don't agree, which honestly, even though I'm struggling financially and need to pay off debt, I don't care about because if she lived there until she died, then the house would just go to me and my brother, and her adult kids won't benefit from my parents. So, am I the antagonist for protecting what's left of mine and my brother's inheritance? Edit. Thank you for all your advice and help. It's very reassuring for me. I'm speaking to legal assistance Friday. So taking the case over to Decoy Court, because he doesn't need a solicitor, he doesn't need a lawyer, he just needs Decoy Court because I have no expertise in this. But it's ridiculous that she just has quotes for how much the money would be to get those additions done to the house or the renovations. She likely never got them done. She just wanted an extra £14,000 just for her trouble. I don't agree with that at all. The whole thing where they split it from 1/3 to 50%, 25%, 25% was a green light for her to say, hey, OP's not noticing when I'm screwing him over, so I'm going to go ahead and double down on screwing him over by asking for extra money when probably she didn't even get it. She's not even getting those renovations, not entitled to it. So I'm going to go ahead and say that OP, you are not the antagonist here. But I would say one thing is, maybe she did do all those renovations. Maybe she is trying to, renovate the house in a way where it was going to be sold for £100,000. But now after her savvy investments, renovations, and adding a Mona Lisa painting to the interior of the house, now that house is going to be worth 2.8 million euros, not pounds, not dollars, euros. Which one's the highest? No, I'm sorry. Pounds is the highest valued one. So it's going to be 2.6 million euros with a small investment of 14,000 pounds. I mean, maybe that sounds like a pyramid scam right there, but if she did it, she would not be the antagonist. But that's the Decoy defense. It doesn't have to make sense. It just has to defend the person. So we'll take a brief recess in Decoy Court. Let me know what your thoughts are on story number 3, refusing to sign over 14,000 pounds because they say so. But the top comment right now is, not the antagonist. Don't sign that. She wants to take advantage of you. True. OP says, exactly. My husband is absolutely adamant that I don't let her bully me. I'm just crap with confrontation and she's blackmailing me now. Edit. The blackmail is more of a threat of saying, if you don't sign this, I won't sell, which to be honest is ridiculous, but maybe blackmail isn't the right word. I got the email yesterday saying that and I was furious. Okay, so it sounds like they're pumping the brakes and they're getting the information they need. The next top comment is, not the antagonist. She's being shady. I would contact the solicitor if your father has changed his will 2 weeks before his death with a brain tumor. It could be contested. True. OP says, I tried that in the beginning and was told it was very difficult to contest the will as I was grieving and in a bad place at the time I buried my head in the sand. She has made everything difficult since and blocked my access to the house. It's been heck. So, okay, so this is just a person that's taking advantage of the entire situation, and it's bringing into question the quote-unquote stepmom and OP's dad's relationship because now it's just about money. Kind of sad. So the next top controversial comment is, we need more information. How could you be the antagonist? The worst that will happen is nothing. To her is nothing. She gets to keep living there. Where's the guilt from? And OP says, I'm too bloody sensitive and hate all the confrontation. She goes on like she's entitled to it, and it's so sweet acting like it makes me question myself. I just hoped I was right. So OP's right, and it's like, too many people jump to the whole, this is a fake story situation, but I don't believe it is, because it's a situation where you have people that are very non-confrontational, that don't want to rock the boat and just want everybody to kind of be happy if they can kind of bury their head in the sand and everything just goes away. They don't mind taking 8% less in their inheritance if it makes it so they don't have to go to court. So I believe that Decoy Court is standing firm with the whole not the antagonist move. I think that most people like me, I'm a big antagonist myself. I would step the plate and start demanding my 8% back, and also trying to maybe evict them too, because they were taking advantage of the whole situation and trying to get me to shake me and my brother down for 14,000 euros. 14,000 pounds. That's ridiculous to me. So that's all I have for you guys today. Make sure you guys are subscribing down below, turning on those notifications to join that Decoy Koi pond. If nothing else, maybe liking the video or sharing the video or sharing the channel overall, showing your friends that there is a hangout online while you guys are locked down to have a kind of gossip courtroom drama, daytime Asian guy with big crazy hair doing some crazy things online. Yeah, that's what it is. So if nothing else, just go ahead and put this on autoplay and watch the next episode of DecoyNoise coming up next.